What if you can predict the exact documents the visa officer is looking for when you apply for a UK visit visa? Wouldn't it be absolutely amazing? Fortunately, you can. In this video, I will go through each document you need to supply to successfully apply for your visit visa. We all know that the key to a successful application for any visa is preparation. Preparation means knowing exactly the requirements and what's expected from you. Please don't just assume that because you can show a lot of money in your bank account, it will mean that you will be issued with a visit visa. Inside the visa officer's mind and see what you need to get your UK visit visa issued. Visa officers will be looking at this, so please grab your pen and paper or notepad and take notes because these are important. First thing is they will check if your application is valid. So, have you applied using the correct form? So, you need to complete the visit visa form instead of spouse visa or work visa form. Be very sure about that. They will also check if you've paid the fees. I mean, this is self-explanatory because you can't submit your application if you haven't paid the fees. Have you provided your biometrics and have you provided a valid passport or ID? So that's the first thing that they check. The next thing they check is they will check if you meet the suitability requirements. So what do we mean by suitability requirement? It means that if you have been an overstayer or illegal immigrant in the UK or in other countries, or you've breached some UK immigration rules, they will refuse your application because they think that you're not suitable to enter the UK. I did create a video on this, and you can check out from the link. You can check out the link in the description. So if you have been an overstay or illegal immigrant in the past, don't apply unless you have obtained advice from an immigration lawyer. And what you need to remember is don't lie in your application. The visa officer will find out, and this can get you banned from entering the UK for 10 years. Third thing they will check is if you're applying with a third-party support, such as your parents are supporting you, or you have a sponsor in the UK providing support for your trip, or some relative, they will check that you have a genuine relationship. So you'll need to show a document that shows your relationship with them, such as a birth certificate, or if you are married, your marriage certificate, or other certificates that connects you to that sponsor. They will also check if your sponsor is in breach of UK immigration laws. In my experience, if your sponsor has overstayed in the past, your application will be refused. So check with your sponsor and ask if they've overstayed, if they've been an illegal immigrant, or they have had some kind of trouble with the immigration office about their immigration status. That can affect your application. They will also check if your sponsor can afford to pay for your visit. So you need to show your sponsor's savings or bank accounts. So the more money is there, the better. And lastly, and this is the most important, the visa officer has to be satisfied that you are a genuine visitor. Now, a lot of applications are refused under this genuine visitor test because the visa officer is not satisfied that the applicant is a genuine visitor. Now, how can you meet this requirement? Well, you can meet this requirement by showing documents that, one, you have sufficient funds, maintenance, and accommodation for your visits. You also need to show that you will leave at the end of your stay and that you will not be making the UK as your home by making by living in the UK through frequent and successive visits, and you need to show that you will not be working. So we come to the most important part, which is what documents you should supply to show that you are a genuine visitor. So pay attention to this. So you need to show your circumstances in your home country. So if you are employed, then you need to submit an employer's letter. So the letter has to be a company's letter-headed paper. So it's not just be a blank, plain paper with letter from, "Dear sir, I am the employer of the applicant," and so on, so on. So it doesn't seem, it has to be, it has to be on a letter-headed paper. So if your employer doesn't have a letter-headed paper, then he needs to create one. Okay, so they need to confirm your role on the letter, your salary, and the length of your employment. If you are a student coming to the UK for a visit visa, you need to submit a letter from your education provider, again on a headed paper, confirming your enrollment and leave of absence. So why you're, that they've given you permission to be absent from school. If you are self-employed, now a lot of people get refused if they are self-employed. I've noticed this because they can't provide things such as business registration documents or recent invoices confirming the ongoing self-employment. So if you're self-employed, you need to, if you're not registered with your government government business department, where you need to register your business, you need to go there and get a registration document. You need to supply invoices, confirming that you're a genuine self-employed person. But also you need to submit perhaps a letter from an accountant to say that they've analyzed your trading and your income is confirming your income. Okay, so let's move on. You need to provide your old passport, especially if you traveled in the past. That will show your travel history. You need to confirm. You need to show that you have a residence permit or a visa where you are, which in the country where you are staying, if you are a non-national of that country. Lastly, you need to show that you have sufficient money. And how do you do this? By providing the bank statements, providing your savings, books, and providing proof of earnings. So if you're working, then you can ask your employer confirming your details and your salary, a confirmation that you do have regular income. Okay, and please remember that if you're providing any documents that are not in English, you need to have that translated. And the translated document has to have a confirmation from the translator that it's an accurate translation of the original document. It will contain the date of translation, the translator's full name and signature, and the translator's contact details. Lastly, what documents that should not be used as evidence and that are less useful. So if you're going to be applying for a visit visa, remember not to include these documents. Don't submit bank statements that are old, so more than 1 year before the date of application. It doesn't really help. Your credit card statements, they don't want to know how much credit card debts you have. Okay, they don't want to know that you can drive, so don't submit your driving license. They don't want to know your educational certificate. They don't want to know evidence of car ownership, because evidence of car ownership doesn't really show that you have money. So you don't need to send personal photographs unless you are trying to show evidence of relationship with someone, I suppose. Notarial certificates, you don't need to send. Business cards, they don't need to know if what details of your about business. Hotel bookings, they don't need to know hotel bookings because they don't really care, because you can't anyway confirm your hotel unless you have your visa. It's the same with flight bookings, okay? So don't assume that they're going to grant you visa and that you have already booked the flight. So you book the flight when you have got the visa. Photocopies of bank cards, they don't want to know that you have lots of bank cards and you have lots of accounts with different banks. You don't want to know travel insurance. Again, this goes with hotel bookings, flight bookings, because you take the travel insurance when you have the visa. And if you are applying with the sponsor support, they don't want to see the sponsors' utility bills, their gas bill, electricity bills in the UK, and they don't certainly want to see the sponsors' council tax bills. So those are the documents you don't need to show. Now that I have already gone through each and every single document that you need to show, to convince the Home Office that you are convince the visa officer that you are a genuine visitor. So go ahead and complete the application form online. If you are stuck, you can save it, and there's a resource for completing the visa application form, you don't need a lawyer, you don't need some kind of guidance unless you don't understand English. But if you do, then you can do this. You can do this on your own. Okay, empower yourself, and good luck with your application. Any help you need with cover letter, I have a video for that. About suitability requirements, I have a video for that. So check my other videos in this channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.